Football Gameplan NFL All-32 show where we break down every game every week from across the NFL. I am David Hassig, and with me is the czar of the playbook, Emery Hunt. Week 4 was a strange one on the gridiron, Emery, and now that we've hit the quarter pole, let's go through some of our superlatives. Who has been the biggest surprise so far for you in 2019 in terms of teams, players, coaches, whatever you want to go for?
I would probably say big surprise is San Francisco and how well they've played. On the defensive side of football, you always wonder how talent will play itself out on the field and not just on paper, because on paper you see many first-round picks. You don't know how it's going to work out, but San Francisco off to an impressive start to the season, undefeated, playing really well offensively. They're starting to figure things out. Their offense starting to finally come into place. Jimmy Garoppolo has to play a little bit better, to be honest, but very surprised at how good they've looked defensively so far this season. As far as disappointments are concerned, I think you look at the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, we know they had some extenuating circumstances coming into the season without Melvin Gordon. But, you know, even without Derwin James, their all-pro safety, you still thought this was a very good team that can supersede those two losses, at least one for the time being, while we know James is going to be out for an extended period of time. But they haven't looked really good at all, and I think that's a problem moving forward. But I was very disappointed in how they've come out to start the season, more so than anything. Maybe even Miami Dolphins, you knew they wouldn't be bad, they wouldn't be good, but you didn't expect
not
to look
this bad.
Exactly. You thought they would probably be, you know, a team that's competitively bad, but they have looked god-awful.
A whole franchise that looked like it's tanked, and maybe the NFL should look into that. Let's talk about the rookies of the year, though, on offense and defense. Obviously, through week 4, sometimes the rookies don't get as much of a look. Usually, though, there's one or two that have made an impact right off the bat. Who are those for you?
Well, you laid it up perfectly, because you don't see a lot of rookies making super impacts right now, so you have to go to the ones that have stood out initially at this part of the season, 4 games in. One, Marquise Brown, the wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. How impressive has he been for this team? Because remember, he barely had a preseason, maybe played in one preseason game, missed virtually the entire offseason because of the injury he had in college. So now you look at him hitting the field with Lamar Jackson in the regular season. The passing game looks tremendous. Defensively, I like Darnell Savage. Liked him at Maryland, liked him in the draft. He's been everything that you expected him to be for this Green Bay Packers football team. Defensively, he has made them one of the better secondaries in the NFL. I like the way he's playing so far as a rookie.
What about the MVP? Obviously, it's way too far ahead to talk about hardware at this point, but Patrick Mahomes has got to be the name on everyone's list for offensive MVP. Is he it for you?
I think so. He's one of those guys, and I love how you gave him the Irish name, Patrick Mahomes. That's pretty good, though. But I think if you're going to go with the quarterback position, we know it's a quarterback award. How about Dak Prescott? Let's give Dak Prescott some praise for what he's doing. He's playing virtually without a contract right now. He's trying to get that contract extension, and every week he's proven he's going to make a lot of money because of how well he's played. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, Shaq Barrett has been playing phenomenal, and it's not because of what he did last week against the Los Angeles Rams. It's been a culminating effect of what he has done since he has gotten there at Tampa Bay. If you look at his ability to not only rush the passer, but have those signature moments in the crucial situations, that's the mark of a guy that's playing great defensive football. That's why I will give him the Defensive MVP award right now, 4 games into the season.
And it's not normal to talk about a defensive player from Tampa Bay, at least not for the last few seasons. He's certainly been a standout, though, league-wide. Let's talk, though, about our game from Thursday night for Week 5. It's going to be an entertaining game. 2 3-1 teams. The Rams taking on the Seahawks. Rams looking to rebound after allowing 55 points to Tampa Bay. But the Seahawks team have also surpassed expectations. So what's the position versus position matchup we should watch for this ballgame?
Well, you look at that Rams interior offensive line versus the defensive front of Seattle. We know they may not have the stars per se, but they have the aggressiveness. The mindset is still the same for the Seattle Seahawks. And if you're going to affect the pocket, this is the perfect quarterback to play against if you're affecting the pocket, because we know he gets skittish. The ball will start to come out any kind of way, and it could end up in your hands. You can make plays on the ball and turn the ball over. So I look at the defensive line of Seattle going up against that Rams interior offensive front, because if quick pressure comes from within, Goff is going to be skittish. Goff is going to take some sacks. It's going to put the ball in the hands of the Seattle Seahawks.
Who are the X factors that you're looking for in this ball game? Because obviously there's a lot of talent on both sides of the ball for both teams. But who are the guys that maybe people are overlooking that could be a big impact here?
I wouldn't say overlooking per se, but I look at Bobby Wagner in the middle of that defense for Seattle. He's the quarterback of the defense. He's going to have to be lockstep with Jared Goff and what he's trying to do as far as checks his call at the line of scrimmage. And we know a lot of what goes on at the line of scrimmage will come from the sideline for the Rams. But Bobby Wagner getting his guys in position to play and make plays is going to be key. For the Rams, I look at Todd Gurley. To take some of the pressure off a skittish quarterback, you have to rely on a running game. We know they do a great job in utilizing their play-action passing game, even if they're not running the football. But I think this time they're going to have to find ways to get the ball to a guy like Todd Gurley. And I want to give another X factor going back to the Seattle Seahawks, speaking of the running game and a running back position. If Rashad Penny is healthy, he is their best back, in my opinion. He's the guy that can hit the home run from anywhere on the field. Get him involved early and often, more so than Carson. I think Carson is a good back, but he's more of a complimentary guy. Penny is the guy that needs to get the football in Seattle.
What is your prediction for this ball game? Obviously, with both teams 3-1, this is a critical game at this point of the season. Who takes it home?
Man, how good is the NFC West? You talk about
really
three
good,
teams with 3 wins: San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle. I think Seattle wins this ball game. I think when you look at the pressure coming from that defense affecting the pocket against Jared Goff, juxtaposed to what Seattle does on offense with their own franchise quarterback in Russell Wilson. He's been playing some really good football. They do a great job in getting the receivers involved. Will Dissly is doing a great job at tight end. So they're involving a lot of pieces. The running game is capable. And defensively, they do a great job of shutting you down. I think they're going to have a lot of success in this ball game against Los Angeles. So I'm going with Seattle to win this one and push their record to 4-1 on the season.
It's going to be a fun game to watch on Thursday night.
Absolutely.
For sure. When we come back, we will break down all of the Week 5 action right here on the NFL All-32 show on the Game Plus Network.
Football Game Plan is brought to you in part by Ninth and Lux. Visit the website ninethandlux.com and check out the clothing gallery. Do You Music with featured artist IW in his latest album, Season 2. You can check that out on iTunes as well as doyoumusic.com. Nesby Phipps, art, life, entertainment. NesbyPhipps.com. Grind It Out Fitness. Visit the website grinditoutfitness.com and download the app.
Welcome back to the Football Game Plan NFL All-32 show. Now it's time to take a look at all of the Week 5 action across the league. Lions and Dolphins have the bye this week, and on the field, though, we start with the Redskins hosting the Patriots. The hot seat is getting hotter in Washington, and the question is, who will start at quarterback in Week 5 for the Skins?
Well, whoever is going to be, whether it's Case Keenum, Colt McCoy is healthy, or if you're going to go with the rookie Dwayne Haskins, the running game has to be there. That's the one element I took away from the game last week against the New York Giants. They struggled to run the football, and it's been a common theme for them throughout the course of the season. Now, coming into the season, they expected to have Darius Geis. They expected to have him paired with Adrian Peterson, but none of that has come to fruition as Geis got hurt once again. He'll be back later on in the year, but the running game right now with Peterson and Thompson hasn't been what you expected it to be. So any quarterback is going to struggle. Hopefully you're able to get Terry McLaurin back. He's a speed guy. You hate those speed guys that have those hamstring issues because you want to take that slowly. But right now, New England is playing phenomenal football defensively, more in particular in the secondary. They're taking the ball away, doing a great job in getting off the field. I like New England in this ball game.
Let's move on to the next one here. Bills taking on the Titans. Bills are known for their defense. They're 3-1 to start the year, but the Tennessee Titans quietly have had a very good start to the year defensively. Now the question is, can their offense do anything against a very tough Buffalo secondary?
Seems as though they remember they drafted A.J. Brown. Last week, They got him involved in the offense. Great opportunity. Now you have two guys that you have to worry about, A.J. Brown and your receiver on the opposite side coming from Western Michigan. His name slips my mind, but that's the other guy that they have done a great job in making sure their offense stays on pace. But it was good to see Brown come together, last week and have success. So that's excellent to see. Defensively, they're going to do a great job, and they're facing a good matchup against Buffalo, who may or may not be without Josh Allen. It all depends on how he goes through the concussion protocol. But Matt Barkley can get some of the job done. He can be efficient in the passing game. He's probably a little bit more accurate than Josh Allen. He loses the athleticism to Josh Allen. So with those questions lying there for the Bills offense, I will have to go with Tennessee in this ball game. I think the Titans win this one.
The next game, a game normally known for defense, but right now it's which team will find defense first. The Ravens taking on the Steelers. Ravens in a much better position with a better offensive scheme, but the Steelers have struggled to find anything so far, and injuries have taken their toll.
Well, offensively, they may have a breakout game against this Ravens defense that has quietly been a suspect defense since losing Jimmy Smith. Now, that's not to say that the Pittsburgh Steelers have game breakers in the backfield to where they can take advantage of a soft run defense.
Right.
But they do have some playmakers on the perimeter. Do they have the quarterback that can get the job done. We don't know that. We haven't seen enough of Mason Rudolph, but we have seen enough of Lamar Jackson, their running game, those receivers, those tight ends against this defense. I like the Ravens big in this one.
Let's move on now to the Jets taking on the Eagles. The big question off the bye week, will Sam Darnold be ready? He's recovering from mono that he developed after week 1. The question is, with that enlarged spleen, is he ready for contact? He was clear for non-contact drills for this week, but will he be ready for the Eagles? That's a big question for a Jets team that's looking for any kind of answers.
Forget Darnold. Will the offensive line of the Jets be ready for the Eagles' defensive front? That's the biggest question in my opinion. So I don't think they put Darnold out there because of what you so eloquently laid out. We don't know if he's going to be able to take contact. Now, he's clear to throw, but not take contact. That's not what you want to hear coming back from that injury or from that illness against this defensive line with that offensive front. I would stay away from the Jets in this one if I were Sam Darnold, maybe wait another week to come back. With that being said, they don't have enough weapons to where they can threaten the Eagles. Now, the Eagles are suffering for some injuries in their own right in the secondary, but the Jets' passing game isn't what it should be. And their defense, while aggressive, will be on the field longer than asked, and the Eagles will slowly take advantage of. Carson Wentz is coming off his best game of the season. The running game for Philadelphia is coming off its best game of the season. I think that momentum carries into this ball game at home. They knock off the Jets.
We move to our first international game of the season. The Bears taking on the Raiders from the brand new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in North London. The weather is always an equalizer, but so are injuries and suspensions. Both teams are dealing with that going into this game.
Absolutely. And you talk about the Bears in a situation where they may be better on offense with Chase Daniel at quarterback than Mitch Trubisky. I think Trubisky's a better athlete. You know, he's a better maybe playmaker, but at least Daniel will keep the offense on pace. If Chicago is smart, they realize their best tailback is Tariq Cohen. Give him the football more and allow David Montgomery to be a complement, and therefore you really open up the running game, and then you can unlock the play-action passing game. Defensively, they're going to be right there. They're going to cause a lot of problems. They're going to get after the quarterback. They're going to cause a lot of issues. When you look at what the Bears do well against a team like Oakland, Derek Carr has been skittish in the pocket, but Derek Carr played his best game last week. We saw the Raiders' run game have success defensively. Obviously, they're going to be without Vontaze Burfict. He's suspended for the year. I like the Bears in this game out there in London.
The first real test for Big Blue on defense, and that is the Minnesota Vikings, will give Daniel Jones a real test in this one. But Minnesota is looking for any kind of offense after last week where they could barely get the ball moving through the air. How do you see this game going with the Giants defense that actually showed up in week 4?
Yeah, quietly the Giants were able to get a lot of coverage sacks. No one talks about how beneficial that is to the defense. The defense didn't blow anyone off the ball as far as the defensive line. The coverage was so good that the quarterback had no choice but to hold the football, and that allowed the defense to rally up and get them on the ground. This game, they're going to be facing a quarterback that's going to give them an opportunity to make some plays on the ball. We know Kirk Cousins loves to hit the check down, so you're going to learn a lot about a Giants defense that may get back Alec Ogletree. They may get back Tate Davis. We know they just lost Ryan Connolly for the year with an ACL injury. He was, to me, their best inside linebacker. So that's a big blow, but you're facing Kirk Cousins. But the problem is now, will this Giants offense have success against one of the best defenses in the NFL? You got a rookie quarterback that has shown their propensity to hold the football a little bit too long. They're going to play press on the outside. Now, they do get Golden Tate back, but I don't know how Daniel Jones will handle this pressure coming from this Vikings defense. So I'm going to take Minnesota by a field goal in this one because I just don't trust their offense against their passing offense with Kirk Cousins. So I like the Vikings defense and maybe their running game against the Giants defense, and I think their defense will do a good job against Daniel Jones, the rookie.
Going to be a tight game for sure. One last game before we go to break. The Bucs taking on the Saints. Was last week an aberration for Tampa Bay when they put up a franchise record 55 points. Meanwhile, the Saints got a win without scoring a touchdown for the first time in almost 25 years. How do we see this game going? Because nobody knows what to expect from either team right now.
Right. When you look at the Saints defense, how big of an impact has Eli Apple made opposite of Marshawn Lattimore, giving the Saints two solid starting corners. Now, where their defense is vulnerable is in the slot. So if you're Tampa Bay, trying to find ways to get Chris Godwin involved or Mike Evans involved, maybe you want to put them on the inside more so than on the outside. So we'll see how the matchups play out. But Teddy Bridgewater has done exactly what you're asking your QB2 to do. Step in, be efficient, keep the offense on pace, don't make mistakes. I like the Saints in this ballgame defensively. They match up really well against Tampa Bay. Offensively, I think what will happen, we'll see them start to open up the offense a little bit more, throw the football a little bit deeper downfield, and get a little bit creative inside the red zone.
After this short break, we will cover the rest of the games from Week 5 here on the Game Plus Network. Stay with us.
Be sure to order your copy of the Go-Go Offense by Coach Brennan Marion on footballgameplan.com/GoGoOffense. Coach Marion goes through the ins and outs of his explosive offense, one that's tearing up the college football field and putting a lot of points on the scoreboard. Again, you can order your copy at footballgameplan.com/GoGoOffense.
Football Game Plan is brought to you in part by Financial Coaching LLC, investment, retirement, security. Stewardship Credit, financial growth is in your hands. Stewardshipcredit.com. Adrienne Marie Photo, photographer, writer, management. AdrienneMariePhotography.com. Lock Multimedia.
Welcome back, fans. Let's get back to the Week 5 predictions here on the NFL All-32 show. Two teams who have struggled on offense in Week 4 in this next one as the Falcons take on the Texans. Atlanta has really struggled to get anything going offensively despite having all the weapons. Houston, good on defense. Offense is hit and miss.
Offense is definitely hit and miss, and it's not because of the quarterback. Deshaun Watson is one of the best players in the NFL. I was about to say in the country like he's in college, but he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Very good player. Problem is the running game has been inconsistent. I think this is a situation where they're playing the wrong guy. Duke Johnson gives them what they want out the position, find ways to get him involved more so. Defensively, they'll frustrate Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan has a ton of weapons at his disposal.
Right.
Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, Austin Hooper. There should be no reason why this Falcons offense is not having success. With that being said, I do like Houston in this game.
Two teams looking for any kind of answers in this next one. The Cardinals taking on the Bengals. Arizona, they need their first win. This might be their best chance to get it here in Week 5.
Well, you talk about the Cardinals that have shown the ability to move the football in spurts, but it hasn't been consistent enough. And keeping with the theme of the show, not playing the right back, I think Chase Edmonds should see more opportunities in the backfield and keep DJ or David Johnson on the move as far as like having him in the slot, having him in the backfield with Chase Edmonds. I think he's more of an H-back, a versatile piece, as opposed to what they're trying to make him as a down-and-down tailback. Plus, Kyler Murray has to play a little bit better, find ways to utilize his athleticism. Cincinnati's defense is a really good defense. They are fundamentally sound. They have good corners. But I do like Arizona to get their first win of the season, going on the road in the Queen City and still no win.
The next matchup, two teams that are treading water at the moment. The Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Carolina Panthers. Both teams that have had to go to their second-string quarterbacks early in the season, but Carolina's got plenty of weapons that are keeping them in games.
Yeah, you talk about Carolina and Kyle Allen, and he didn't play his best football against Arizona, but he did play well enough to win. Christian McCaffrey has been this true story of this Panthers run. He's the dynamic playmaker that we envision him being coming out of Stanford. Now, defensively, Shaq Thompson has played some phenomenal football. He's a guy that can play linebacker. He could play safety. He could move him in the slot and have him cover receivers. He's a good athlete. Gardner Minshew has done a great job in replacing Nick Foles, almost Nick Folesing Nick Foles. You know, because if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, he's playing so well, you can ease Nick Foles back to health while having a tough decision to make if you're going to put him back in the lineup when he's fully healthy. But Gardner Minshew has done a great job, and he's shown that he has a little bit of magic in driving them down the field in clutch situations. With all that being the backdrop and all that being said, I do like Carolina to get the win.
Two teams that are looking for more answers as well. Chargers taking on the Broncos. The Chargers a little bit disappointing from what we expected from them in the first part of the season, but still consistent. Denver, though, there's been no consistency at all.
Well, you hope for Denver that they can supersede the loss of Bradley Chubb. You know, he's out for the season with an ACL injury. That eliminates the 1-2 punch of Chubb and Von Miller. Now you have Von Miller, and if you're Los Angeles, you look at this matchup, okay, we can just, slide protection toward Miller and dare that other guy to beat us and get back there in the pocket. The good thing about the Chargers, this is the second game back for Melvin Gordon, so his productivity should go up, and his carries and looks and touches, all of that should go up in this ball game, and rightfully so. He's walking into what could be a good matchup without one of their top pass rushers, and their passing game is going to do a great job because of their ability now to run the football. So on the offensive side, I feel bad for the Broncos. It seems like twice at home they had what looked to be game-winning touchdown drives, only to see them lose on the end in the final second. So you like how the offense can lock in 2 minutes and drive down the field. Maybe they should go to more of an up-tempo approach for the entire game, because Flacco seems to thrive in that situation. But I do like the Chargers in this one. Defensively, they were weakened. Denver was. I think the Chargers take advantage.
A good game late in the 4 o'clock window as well. The Packers taking on the Cowboys. Both teams 3-1, but both of them coming off of big hiccups in Week 4. Which team recovers, do you think, in this ballgame?
I like Dallas to win. I think when you look at why I like the Cowboys, their commitment to the running game is there for putting them in position to be successful. Green Bay still hasn't committed to the run. Had they committed to the running game against the Eagles, they would have probably won that ball game. But we saw them get down into the red zone and couldn't run the football and didn't run the football. So that right there, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth as far as what they can do offensively. Plus, you don't know how healthy Devontae Adams is. You don't know how healthy Jamal Williams is. So that takes a little bit away from what they can do on offense and makes them sort of one-dimensional. I do like the well-balanced approach of Dallas. We saw Robert Quinn start to come alive as a pass rusher. We know they have the athleticism at linebacker to cover ground both against the run and against the pass. Dallas is a much better team overall, top to bottom, than the Packers.
Let's move now to Sunday night. An interesting matchup at Arrowhead, the Colts taking on the Chiefs. We said that the Colts might be okay after losing Andrew Luck to retirement. This is going to be a good test, though, in one of the most intimidating stadiums in the NFL at Arrowhead Stadium and this Kansas City Chief offense.
Yeah, Arrowhead is like a college atmosphere, and when you're the only show in town, you love that atmosphere that you get in an NFL game or even a college game. But this is going to be about the Colts defense and their ability to play coverage against Pat Mahomes and what he can do in that passing game. The offense of the Colts will just have to play maintain football, what I mean by that is they're going to have to just run the football, short passing game, play keep away, so to speak, and then pay off with points. But defensively, the coverage is what I'll be focused on. We know Kansas City works touchdown and check down. If you allow Mahomes to get outside the pocket, everything is open. He has the arm that can legitimately go end zone to end zone. So you really have to be in lockstep with your guy deep down the field. So we'll see what type of coverage they can dial up to get to Pat Mahomes, to force him to throw that football quickly and short to rally up to make a tackle. But I do like the Chiefs to win this ball game. Just too much firepower to me offensively. I don't think the Colts can keep pace enough to where they can make this one in.
Patrick Mahomes can throw touchdowns and win staring contests with referees. We found that out in Week 4. Let's move now to Monday night and what is going to be a strength versus strength matchup, a really intriguing one as the Cleveland Browns, coming off a nice win over Baltimore, take on that very stout 49ers defense who are 3-0. This is probably going to be one of the better games on Monday night this year.
Yeah, strength versus strength. The defense of the 49ers, the offense of the Browns, and if the Browns can maintain their level of balance, running the football with Nick Chubb and allowing Mayfield to operate off play action could be a winning recipe for them. Defensively, for San Francisco, how well can they affect the pocket? We talked about guys that are kind of jittery in the pocket and maybe a little bit skittish. Baker Mayfield can be that. But offensively for San Francisco, what type of offense will we see? Get 2 weeks to prepare, get some guys healthy, get those guys out there. Can Jimmy Garoppolo do his best performance of the season, in my opinion, against a very active and aggressive Browns defense? This defense, if it wasn't for Shaq Barrett, Myles Garrett would have been my choice for defensive MVP. He's been playing lights out. I like the Browns in this game. What has been undersold about this Browns defense, even without those starters in the secondary that we saw the last couple of weeks, their secondary hasn't been an issue. It hadn't been the reason why they lost to the Rams and wasn't a problem against Baltimore. Defense is really good. They're now starting to realize they can run the football. I like them in a close one against San Francisco.
It's going to be a fun game to watch for sure. That'll do it for the Football Game Plan NFL All-32 show. Don't forget to go to SoundCloud or iTunes where you can listen to the NFL All-32 podcast with myself, Emery, Troy Anthony, and Alex Marinoni, breaking down all the NFL news and notes. And don't forget to stay tuned to the Game Plus Network for the College Football Tailgate show right here at 6:30 tomorrow. For the czar of the playbook, Emery Hunt, I'm David Hassagen. Thanks for watching.